Welcome to this look at a new mod map on Farming Simulator 19 with me, Mr. Searly P. Welcome to Ostrovitko. This is a new map out by Puma 145. It came on Friday the 11th, but I was unable to do the map tour over the weekend, so I'm doing it this morning on Monday the 14th of September. This is a fairly small map. It will use 281.34 megabytes to download. On New Farmer, which is what I do my map tours on, it uses 616 slots out of 1299 on PlayStation 4. A few people have told me recently that on Xbox their slot counts are often slightly different to what I say when I do my PlayStation reviews. I'm not quite sure why that would be, but yeah, on PlayStation anyway, it's saying 616 of 1299. I'll get into the others of Farm Manager and start from scratch when we look at the vehicles and those kind of things. Right in front of us, we've got our Sleep Trigger. This is a little house which is available as a mod by the map maker. I'm not tired at the moment, obviously. Well, I say obviously. I'm pretty sleepy, but we are facing south-east at the moment. That's north. Now this little barn behind us here doesn't open. The doors don't open. But that's north, east, south is that way, and west is that way. We'll have a look at the main map, which is right here. Now, Ostrovit Lake, Jezorio Ostrovit, is actually in the real world in part of a national park. I don't think it has any of these built-up areas and farms. So I looked at it on the sat map just to see. There's a whole load of lakes around the area. But it's a nice feature to have. And as we go around the map, you'll see these parts of the map you can't actually get to. But having these fields there, it gives that feeling that it kind of goes on further. And the same with this one down here. You can't actually access that. If I click on what we start with on New Farmer, you'll see that's all blacked out. So you can't actually get to any of that. But we do start with Field 14, Field 2 and Field 9, which are fairly spread out. Field prices are pretty good. They do vary wildly from sort of 45. I say wildly, it's a good thing because it gives you the option to start off small and gradually build up. And then we've got some fairly big ones. Field 51, for example, is 310 grand. Field 54, 368. So you can build up to some fairly large size fields. Sell points is one main sell point. That's the grain elevator there, which we'll get to in a little while. We do have one cow pasture already built into the map. When we get to that, there's something I'll need to explain about that too. We have a sawmill and there's plenty of forestry available. The actual lake itself, Ostrovit Lake in the real world, is surrounded by a lot of forested areas and stuff around it. So there are a lot of forest areas here on the map, which also vary in price, which I think is also a good thing. If we go for this one down here, for example, 200,000 around the sawmill. Got this one down here for 250. A little bit just there, 40,000. So you can start off fairly small. And again here, 149. But then we build up to the larger size chunks. To that one there, 1,137,000. So if you did a load of forestry, maybe built up, and then you could afford to buy more. If you're into forestry, you might not be, in which case, don't worry about it. What else have we got? We've got a line point, and we've got some sell points. We've got there's a fuel point there. That's also where the store is. We'll get to that later on as well. Then we've got the spinnery, barn, animal dealer, lime station, and biogas plant. The biogas plant on this map is free because it's part of the periphery. If I click on this bit now, it highlights all of the periphery that you can't, well, not all of it you can't access. Some of these bits here of just, odds and ends around the map, and that's value is 0, so you can buy that anyway, doesn't matter, like so, and now you own all of that. So if you wanted to put any little placeables or stuff dotted about, because this area here is a huge placeable area, we'll drive past that in a little while as well, big sandy area around these two little lakes, so you could put placeables, set up your own farm, whatever you want to do. Now as far as kind of mods go, I kind of cover it sometimes when the map maker puts mods in they've made themselves. There are quite a few barns. One kind of obvious thing that's missing on New Farmer at the moment is a silo. You don't start with a silo, but there is a modded one in here, and obviously there are tons of placeables available and the standard in-game ones and those kind of things. But you don't start with one on New Farmer, or start from scratch, or Farm Manager. What else did I want to point out at this juncture? Nothing, I think. So what we'll do is we'll head from our little farmhouse. Like I say, we'll have a look at the machinery in just a second, and we'll head across here. I've had a quick whiz round just to familiarise myself with the map. I love the texturing. I like the landscape. I love the way it's sort of set up. It's got a very nice feel to it. The colour palette used is really good. The lighting may not be to everyone's taste. I know when Marwell Manor came out, one of the, was it the first mod map we had? I'm trying to think now. A lot of people hated the shadow and shading. This is very much like that. I didn't mind that because I kind of got that feeling that if it's very sunny, you're going to get a lot of shade and shadow. But like I say, not everyone's cup of tea, and I found going around this map, a lot of the shade and shadow is very, very dark. Which, like I say, doesn't bother me. I'm just pointing out that it is there. So, we've got some barns and buildings and shelters. Again, these are all modded ones the map makers put in. We do start with a bison, with a header. We've got a little Maxim. We've got a fence, and then the rest of the equipment is stored, he says, in these buildings here. I think we've got a trailer in this one, if I recall correctly. Yep, trailer in there. We're going to grab the Maxim to go around and do the tour. So I suppose now's the best point to have a look at what we start with. So like I say, 616. We've got the Fendt Favorite, Maxim, Bison Super, HW80 trailer, header for the Bison. We've got a cultivator seeder, fertiliser spreader. Now you do start with the cow pasture, which holds 50 cows, and down there at the cow pasture there is a small bunker silo. Again, that's a modded version. But there are tons of placeables available, and then we've got loads of garages and barns and things knocking around at various different points around the map. So when you come onto this on Farm Manager, you have all of the machinery and the cow pasture. I think you have the bunker silo, but you don't have any of the garages and buildings, and the slot count's 583, so not a huge difference, but you don't have any of the barns or buildings. You do have the cow pasture. The cow pasture is kind of integral, and again we'll get to that in a little while. On start from scratch is exactly the same, 583 out of 1299. Now if you wanted to sell everything and start with your own machinery, you can get the slot count down to 466 out of 1299 on console, obviously. But when we get to the cow pasture, there's something I want to show you. Be wary about selling that. That's all I'm going to say for the moment. So let's grab the Maxim. And which way around was I going to go? Kind of do a loop round. A kind of a loop round. There's a couple of bits I'll point things out. It has some of the terrain on here is going to be challenging. Some of the fields are fairly steep, as you can see. And because the field sizes do vary, you do go from very small up to very, very large. I say very, very large. No, I mean not on the American map scale of fields, but big. Got little ponds and stuff dotted around all over the place. Some really nice features. I suppose because part of the 1299 slots that a map uses, I've come the wrong way. How did I manage to do that? Oh, we're going down that way in a second. Yeah, the 1299. The map will use a certain amount of the 1299 slots. So whilst it's a 281.34 megabyte map, and it's a fairly small map, because of the amount of detail on it, that's why it kind of eats into the slot count, which it does really. Initially, when you see a sort of megabyte download of sort of 200, 280, you think, okay, that's going to be fairly low on the slot count, fairly small map. But it's not the case. Fairly high for the size map. Now, just down here, I should have come out of the farm, by the way, it doesn't matter. We've got a line point, and you'll see what I mean about the shading. It's very dark when you're in the shade and the shadow. There's a line point just there, and there are a lot of farm buildings knocking about. We'll have a look at them. We had a look at the modern structure a minute ago. I looked at the shelters and stuff. There is a farmhouse available. The farmhouse is only £50, euros or dollars to buy, so really cheap. That little farmhouse we started with, so you can pretty much place it anywhere. It's got a very small footprint, and there are a few farmers we're going to get to, this one being one of them. So if you didn't want your start farm to be where it is, you could pretty much place it anywhere. Or that placeable area that we'll get to later on, you might decide you want to set up an entire farm of your own right there. But we do have these areas, a few of these on the map, which you could decide, you know what, I'm going to plot my farmhouse here. So there's still some barns and buildings. You can stick a silo on here. There's enough space, and away you go. But like I say, the texturing's great. It's got a very, very nice feel to this. So from here, we're going to head out towards the lake, and we'll do a route round that takes in the sawmill. We'll go down to the cow pasture, and then we'll head up to the northwest of the map, which is where the store point is, and the spinnery and livestock market and biogas plant. So that's all we'll head up to. Now it's interesting. There's like, again, having a quick whiz round all this side of the map, all this part of the map here. As I went round, I was thinking, this is really nice. It's got a lovely flow to it. It kind of sweeps around, and it's very smooth and well kind of textured. Then when I go up to the northwest part of the map, as you'll see when we get up there, it gets a little bit more clunky is the word I kind of use. I've used a few times on maps. Again, you'll see what I mean when I get up there. And I was a little bit kind of surprised. Another little building there. Again, there are a few mods about, and there's a doormat mod as well, so you can pretty much put your farmhouse wherever you want. If you don't want to use the in-game one, use the modded one. So along the side of the lake, again, kind of not difficult terrain. It's not going to be impossible to farm, but it's going to make life interesting. But like I said, looking across, because you've got those fields over there, which you can't get to, but it does give the feeling there's a lot more going on, I know sometimes we get maps and you have a very kind of defined border that just has like trees all around the edge of it. Looking off into the distance there again, you can't get over there. But all that off there in the distance with the wind turbines going and the silhouette of the it's like another town, It just feels like the map goes on and on. I like that. So this field to the left we can't access, that's the big field down the bottom. We come up on the sawmill now. There's an array of different sorts of trees. We have got pine, we have got fir, there's a few different ones for logging if that's your thing. So here, plenty of room to move about. We'll get our lumber point there, and we've got our wood chip sell point just there. Now we're going to head across kind of the bottom of the map towards the cow pasture. Interesting little feature coming up now. We've got a little rural roundabout. Again, really nice detail. It's a lovely little feature. Just an interesting thing to happen in the middle of the countryside. Little rural roundabout. So, second exit. Off we go. Can you get away with big machinery on this map? You probably could. I think because of the sweep of some of the hills, some of the wider machinery, seeders and planters and things like that, often the ones that don't have a lot of flex in them don't like some of the kind of the undulations on the field. So I suppose medium machinery, but you could probably get away with some bigger stuff. There aren't any hedges around, and there aren't that many fences that I've come across that are going to cause you any issues. So you could get away with bigger stuff, and obviously you can plough together different smaller fields to make bigger fields if you wanted to. So we're coming up on the cow pasture on our left hand side. So water trough is just there on our left as we come up. Again, you could have this as your start farm if you wanted to. Just stop there. So milk trigger point is this bit here. There's your manure bit, and then we've got a little bit of barn space. You'll see what I mean about the shadow. It is very, very dark under here, but again, it doesn't bother me. Bit of building space just there. Then we've got our, I think the trigger's here. There we go. So our trigger for buying, selling, loading or unloading of our cows. And like I said earlier, this will hold 50. It's just here. We come inside, we've got a feed trough just there. I'm assuming the straw point is going to be here by the bales. Again, it's not marked out, but you've got your feed trough there, and there are some bales piled up here. So I would imagine as you come in, this is going to be where your trigger's going to be for putting in your bedding. When we come out the other side, we've got our slurry pit just here, and the bunker silo is just here. again, building space, barn space. But if you come on here on farm management, start from scratch, some of these barns and buildings you don't have. But again, weirdly, we've got these kind of... There's nothing in the mod hub that says there are any required mods. Sometimes you get a map that says it requires a certain mod, and there'll be some of those barns or buildings around the map. There are a few places where you've got these areas that look like something should be on it. Now, I don't know if that's just been done to allow you to place something. Like I say, it doesn't say any required mods, so I haven't put anything in. Now, what I'm going to do is head over here, because if you decided, you know what, I'm going to sell everything and kind of go full, start from scratch, and you want to get your slot count right down, if I try and get this just about right, which is probably about there, if you sell this cow pasture, what I'm going to show you now is a picture of what it looks like once you've sold it. Okay, now the problem with that is you can buy the land back, because I did it, I tested it out. So if you sell the cow pasture, all of the buildings, the cow pasture, everything goes. Now this plot you can buy for 86,000. So I bought the plot, but the cow pasture doesn't come back because you've sold it. And here's the weird thing: if we go into the garage now, that cow pasture says mod 35,000, as do the other bits that say mod. So you go into the placeables and they're all in there. The cow pasture isn't. So whilst it says mod there, if you sell it and then decide, oh, actually, you know what, I should have put it back in, you can't actually access it again. If I go back across and we go to placeables, we go up to animal pens, we scroll across and go right to the end, the cow pasture, the modded cow pasture that you can sell, isn't available to rebuy. So that's what I said, just be wary of that, because if you do like it and like the placement of it, and you think, I'll sell everything, and then come back down and think, oh, hang on a minute, it's not here, you can't rebuy this, which kind of fits this bit of land perfectly. So yeah, just something to be cautious of, wary of. I mean, you could place other buildings and stuff on if you want to, or maybe another cow pasture, or you might want to go for sheep or pigs or whatever you want to do, but yeah, there you go. I just thought I'd point it out. Now, here's the next thing that's it's not a problem, it's one of those kind of, I think, knowing what people can be like, not what people are like. I'm not tarring everyone with the same brush. If we look at the map now, we've got this route that we came from the little rural roundabout, and we went all the way along here to get to here. Now we have this little farm sort of area there with nothing particularly on it, and our main farm is here. This join between these two roads, there is no joining point. There is no road that joins these two up until you go all the way back to the roundabout, go all the way back up there and all the way around there. Now I know most people, if they're going to be doing stuff down here and want to get back to their farm or up to, they're going to cut across, you know. Now obviously with the landscaping tool you can put a track in if you want to, that kind of thing, but just to point out, there is, I thought I'll just go down the gap between two fields, but the gaps between the fields are very narrow, which kind of is my excuse for saying that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to drive across the gap. But yeah, with the landscaping tool, if you buy a couple of bits of land, there's no reason at all why you couldn't just put your own little track in between the two. Actually, I'll go up there, this hasn't got any crop on it. So we'll cut across between, it's a tiny little gap between the two, and if you don't mind driving across a field or on crops or whatever, that's entirely. So our main farm where we started is just through there. You can just see the red of the harvester. We've got this farm's building area here. Again, there's nothing on it, there's no animals on it, there's no, sell point or anything like that, but again, you could use it if you wanted to as your main start point. Another little pond. Now what I'm going to do is take a right here, so if I carry straight on there, we come to the edge of the map. So we're going to come up here. This will bring us up to that placeable point I mentioned a little while ago, and it's a big open area, and again it's kind of, to me it's weird, it's a bit of kind of at odds to the rest of the map. You've got all this texture, all this detail, all the greenery and shrubs and trees, and then you've got this huge open area of just sort of sandy ground, which is great for placeables. And again, if you want to make it a farm area, or it just seemed a bit weird to me. It was just kind of, as I drove up to it, I thought, hang on a minute, there's like something's missing, But again, that's part of the periphery. So if you buy all of the extra around the outside for €0, that's part of it. So again, should give you the option to be able to do what you want. Now, I haven't tried placing stuff on every part of this map or anywhere, so it may be there are certain points in this map that won't let you place. So the main sell point, the grain elevator. Again, be cautious. The barriers at all of the buy sell points and stuff are very slow to open, so don't come hooning up to it hoping it's going to open, because it doesn't. And again, we're in the dark. There's a lot of shade here from the tall trees. And as the sun comes round, it does move, but it is in the shadow, very dark. So here's your sell point. Let's get the lights on that. There we go. So this is the grain elevator. We'll come through now to the side. Again, slow down because the barrier takes a little bit of time. There we go. Then up the hill out the other side. There's a couple of ways we can go from here. We're heading out to the northwest part of the map now, which is where the rest of the sell point, well, not sell point, well, no, buy points, because it's, well, I suppose, yes, spinnery and stuff as well. I'm thinking because the grain elevator is the only one. I can go left there, which takes us out to, which is technically the main road, and there's some traffic on that. Or what we're going to do, we're going to go right and just go through a little bit of the kind of forested area. Again, there's quite a few little tracks and stuff that weave their way around and through the forest, and as you can see on the map down the bottom left, there's a few more little placeable areas and fields like field 3 in amongst it all. There's a kind of main path, I suppose you can call it a path, that runs through, which we're going to hop onto. Turn that back off. We need to carry straight on. It's like it's been kind of logged already, and you know, there's open areas. So as we come round, we've got this, and again, really incredible features. Like I said, I do like the terrain. I do like what's been done. So we've got this little main road that runs across. You can just see a car going over now. So we've got this little overpass bit here, because as you go under there's a few little houses and stuff. You can imagine this is where the roads used to go, run down through before they put a main road in or whatever, but I don't know, it's just a nice feature to have. So as we come up round here, we're going to come to, now on the map it doesn't show the store as being here, it doesn't show you a store point, but there is a fuel point which is on the map, as you can see. Come on, open, here we go. Well, I'm just covering it now, bottom left, but there's your fuel point there for refuelling. As I come off of that on the little map bottom left, there's no icon for the store, but the store is here, as you can see. So store point there, your configure, repair, sell point is just here, and if you have to reset anything, if anything goes wrong, you tip something over, get it stuck, it goes in the lake, the reset point is here at the main store. I will drive under this just because I like it as a feature. There's no particular reason other than that. And then we've got a few little houses off to the sides here. Just watching out for the pedestrians. And there are quite a few of them. And then just brings you back out onto the road again. Basketball court. The requisite basketball court that farming maps need to have, so you can play a bit of one-on-one if you want it. So, coming up next, now this is where, like I've said, all the rest of the map is very smooth and very well levelled, and it all just seems to work. This was the bit I just found the roadway sections just seemed to be a little bit clunky, which just seemed to me completely at odds with everything else. It just seemed a bit peculiar to me. I don't know, I mean, it's a minor thing. You can still drive along the road, it makes no difference. But so on our left, we've got 3 points here, directly to our left, and again it's hard to see because there we go. Let's put the track lights on. So we've got a spinnery sell point just here for our wool and our cotton. We've got a barn sell point which is just here, and then over here we've got our livestock market point. So click on that and you can buy, depending on what pens you've got, or if you're coming to pick them up yourself, your livestock. And from here, just keep an eye out because the cement lorries come along here at a fair old pace. And then as we come down the road, we've got what looks like a kind of hotel type thing and some flats, and then we are at the top northwest point of the map. We are at the biogas plant, which is, as I said earlier, is free. It's part of the periphery, so we can buy this and you own it. And this again is a very, I suppose because that kind of, it's a biogas plant, you know, you've got all this lovely countryside with all the textures and colours, and you've got this huge imposing kind of concrete area, you know, real contrast. 2 huge bunker silos just here, and then we've got our unload point into the digesters just there, and our digestate tank, your byproduct from anything you sell, is just there. Actually, what we'll do, because I did buy it, didn't I bought the periphery. Yeah, I did. So the biogas plant should be on here now. There we go, biogas plant. Scroll across. What are they paying out at the biogas plant? 360 for silage, and they will buy manure and slurry too. And the barn's paying 333 for silage. So yeah, pretty good prices. Not too bad at all. And that is the map. There's a bit more to look at. You know, you can have a bit of a drive around on the side of the lake through the forest and those kind of things. But that's all the main sell points. That's the farm. That's the you know, or the little farms that are dotted about. These barrels are very slow. And like I said, you can place whatever you want, wherever you want. Yeah, if we go down to the bottom there, farmhouse, there you go, 50 for the farmhouse. So you could sell the one you got and then place that wherever you like. But yeah, I went through, the sheds are all in here, like I say, but I couldn't find that cow pasture, which was a bit peculiar. But anyway, that's it. That's by Puma 145. Little crack, yeah, not a bad map this. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.